is the thing. It's loose.
It's a crazy project. And every time I see that picture show up, I'm like, I've driven by that before. And then I met him. Oh, what's your name, by the way?
Chase Young.
Nice to meet you, Chase. So,
If nothing else, it's a lot of fun and people get a kick out of it. And some love it and some absolutely hate it. And I'm totally fine with both of those
and
responses.
so you should be. Because the purists are probably going to like cringe in the corner.
Yeah.
And everybody else is going to be like, that's different. I mean, like, what are you supposed to do? Say no? I mean, like, I'm a very firm believer. So Chase and I met because we're both makers. And I'm a very firm believer that if it's not ridiculous to make, then why make it? So this definitely is a very, very ridiculous build. Crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell, ding ding, to make sure you know whenever my next videos come out. Okay, so here we are, the famed, what is it called?
I call it the mid-cab.
The mid-cab, I like it.
Drive from the middle of
I
the
like it. Mid-cab, meet Huey.
Yeah.
This is all over the internet. And do you mind telling me a little bit about it on camera?
No,
Like-
not at all. So this was my thesis project for my Master of Fine Arts thesis at the University of Arkansas. And it came about, I took a museum studies class, and I'd always taken museums for granted that everything that's in there is truth and everything is all perfectly researched, and you go in a museum and that's absolute, right? There's no bias there. And taking a museum studies course, I realized that that's not the case, that everything is curated and there's all sorts of filters that everything's going through before it comes to you. And so I wanted to create a museum exhibit, I wanted to invent something and kind of write it into history. And so what I ended up inventing was the mid-cab, so a backwards truck. I tried to think of the most absurd vehicle that you could think of.
I think you won that one.
Yeah, and try to justify it through all of these different means. So I built the vehicle, and then there's a whole museum exhibit. There was a timeline like you'll see in museums of the inception of this and all of it coming to fruition. There's a car and driver review. There's there's an illustration that I put into the How to Keep Your Volkswagen Alive manual of this vehicle, and a bunch of Volkswagen ads that are very period and the way that they used to do their
But that's
ads.
all your creation to make it look like it was actually created by Volkswagen.
Yes, yes. Yeah. And then, so this is all, so I modified this, obviously a lot of work to make it look like this, and then repatinaed it, repainted it to make it look as though it had been this way for 40 years.
So seriously though, it looks like, I mean, you just found it in the woods. Like it's that kind of like it's not just badly chopped. It's actually like, I mean, the door's in the right spot, the shifter's in the right spot, the steering wheel, all that stuff. Like,
yeah, I mean, that was the idea. I like the questions, right? I wanted people to not be sure what they were looking at, and I purposefully put in characters from Volkswagen's history that were real people and events that were actual, like the gas crisis and all of that fun stuff, to justify how this thing was built. And so, the idea was that people would question, and some people would come in and think, is this a real thing? And some people would know, well, it's not a real thing, but there's parts that confuse me. There's a few kind of Easter eggs throughout the project. One of them is right here, where you have the actual Volkswagen glass, original glass logo there. People who have tried to modify cars would know that you can't cut tempered glass, and so I actually took a piece of glass and laser engraved that logo after scanning it on a scanner, so that it would have that. No one else would notice, no one else would care, But for those who are really
For the hardcore
diehards,
car guy
yeah.
that knows what they're looking at.
Just one more thing to say. Wait a minute. Where did that window come from? You can't cut those down.
Right. So, okay, so fun question. If you threw an engine and transmission in it, do you, like, all things perfect, you know, if the steering wasn't sticky and all that stuff, how do you think it would drive?
I mean, I think it'd be pretty terrifying. I would certainly put some, like, sandbags in the front of the bed for sure to get some weight over.
Where's the gas tank technically?
The gas tank's back where
it's still back there. Okay, so it is all back heavy then.
Yeah, I mean, essentially you're sitting in the back seat of a Volkswagen bus.
Right.
So all of that still works and all fits in the back there.
I guess you could try, like, you could maybe add weight to the front and then move the tank up front. There's not much there, so you could, you know.
Yeah. Or there's a lot of space under there for sandbags or lead weights or whatever.
I know in Huey, the front is the gas tank, so it wouldn't be hard to, like.
It would take some getting used to steering around corners. You'd probably clip a lot of curves initially.
I can imagine.
But
the front even opens, I noticed. Like, it's made to open.
So this is a nose gate.
Nose gate. That's insane.
And it does open.
That's cool. You pulled that. Oh, let me see in there. See the.
Yeah, you can see the
all the inner workings. Yeah, that's the old. Yep. That's insane. You did some. Oopsie. You did some great detail on that one because you had to, like, think of that one, didn't you?
Yeah, that one was tricky, and it didn't turn out exactly the way I wanted to. I wanted everything to line up real nice, and I wanted it to kind of pivot back so that you had a continuous bed when it was
like
down.
like normal.
That's really tricky with a curved front. I never realized that. There's a reason that tailgates in the backs of trucks are nice and flat.
Oh, the flats.
So everything folds down a lot better that way.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I had to go back in and make these ghost images, and there's one on the back that has the mid-cab logo.
Oh, there is? Let me see.
Yeah.
I saw a logo, it, like, faded in. I didn't realize it was something different.
And I realized Volkswagen never used the
single
cab, double cab.
No, but
monikers. But I really wanted it to have a name, you know.
Yeah.
And I wanted a badging, so I used the Wolfsburg font for that.
Oh, cool. That's insane. So you had to fake patina, you said?
Yes. And this is actually latex, believe it or not.
Ha!
Latex house paint worked really, really well.
I mean, I guess if you're not worried about a glossy shine, it's probably the perfect.
Yeah.
You could use a new headliner, I'm sorry, but, you know.
Yeah, the headliner's pretty trashed. It was, some cats have been making this their love nest lately, and so things have gotten a little torn up with the headliner and the...
I guess driving down the road looking like that right there would be kind of a weird, not just clipping corners, but you might have a problem running over just in general. Yeah. You need a front ways cam.
Right. I love the idea of, like, how people have their dogs riding the bed of their truck, having your dog just, like, staring through the windshield at you.
That would be funny, wouldn't it? Just like, hey, where do we got to get there? When are we going to get there?
So I created all this justification for the vehicle. So one of them was safety standards, right? Which is one of the reasons the buses kind of ceased, was because you sit with your knees right in the crumple zone.
Yeah.
So this, right, like, much safer with front-end collision. You've got all this crumple zone in front of you. And then, you can keep an eye on your load very easily.
Yeah. Just better tie down, because if it blows away, it's your windshield.
Exactly. And you still have a trunk to secure things in. All these kind of funny justifications for a vehicle.
That would be, I mean, honestly, it's probably the safest of the Volkswagen buses at this point for running into something anyway.
Front-end collision, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, there's enough crumple zone, you'd probably just bounce.
Yeah.
You just, like, blink, just throw back a couple of feet, and you'd be good to go.
Yeah.
That's insane. So the mid-cab is real. It is not a Photoshop like people keep saying. That is crazy. It'd be crazy to see it drive down the road. I mean, I guess you could get it drivable, just don't just take it to car shows, right? Just get a trailer and
Yeah.
haul it and drive it. Because there's a million cars out there for car shows that never actually ride on the street, right? So
yeah, I could definitely trailer it to car shows.
and he's not afraid of Volkswagen. He's got a Car McGee in the background, so
Yeah, first car is a Volkswagen Beetle.
nice.
Been bit by it for a while.
Yeah, it's a crazy project. And every time I see that picture show up, I'm like, I've driven by that before. And then I met him. Oh, what's your name, by the way?
Chase Young.
Nice to meet you, Chase. So, that is the mid cab. I think it embodies everything you want it to embody.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it's a lot of fun, and people get a kick out of it. And some love it, and some absolutely hate it, and I'm totally fine with both of those.
And so you should be, because the purists are probably gonna cringe in the corner, and everybody else is gonna be like, "That's different." I mean, like, what are you supposed to do? Say no? I mean, I'm a very firm believer. So Chase and I met because we're both makers, and I'm a very firm believer that if it's not ridiculous to make, then why make it? So this definitely is a very, very ridiculous build. Crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy. Thank you.
Steering gear back there and a big. What was that? Some sort of tie rod end I've got on there. I welded the tie rod end on there.
So it does steer though. I mean,
Steer, yeah.
So let's give it a little wiggle. I'm not going to steer too much because it's sitting still, but yeah, it's connected.
It's got all the rust. It does the thing. It's loose.